So the reason that Phygital and the product Vyry exists today is because of this threat that you perceived back in 2022, right? That Gen Z and Gen Alpha are losing a core part of their humanity because of all this doom scrolling on social media and spending hours and hours on video games. But the threat actually got multiplied by the introduction of AI. The conversation that you started like first, a long time ago around AI induced social atrophy has now become this hot topic of conversation in AI and tech communities, right? What they're calling AI psychosis, or what they're calling on X getting one shotted. So let me ask you, how did you see it so far ahead of everyone else, and why do you think that Fury is the solution to this problem?
Well, two things, Romeo. On one hand, as a father of two kids, right, I'm obviously live in the world of doom scrolling and gaming, and I do see. Because everything was an experiment the last 25 years, right? The social media and how social media is has impacted actually the current generation, right? And then this generation, meaning the parents or the faculty who were in charge of that generation, right? They didn't know what would happen by introducing that new medium that would create a new behavior, right? And then every new innovation and technology, you always have the pros and the cons, right? So, and you can always be totally in favor or not in favor, or you don't have an opinion, right? And during the mobile yeah, the mobile, really the beginning of mass population of mobile, right? And therefore then the killer application social media, right? We didn't know, right, what the possible outcomes could have been, right? And as a matter of fact, and to make a long story short, the TLDR of social media is it was generally intended to get us connected, but it actually disconnected us, right? And it disconnected us and therefore shaped our behavior, right? On one hand, we were urging to have more access in a proactive way in the palm of our hands, right? And it was fun at the beginning. Oh, wow, I'm building my network right now, 25 years into it, right? We have very clear evidences that the doom scrolling and then the gaming on mobile phone, right? That has led to truly a behavior of feeling of hiding behind the screen, and therefore feeling more comfortable and having less human being interaction, right? And so I've experienced that as one, in my role as a fighter, and two, in my role as an academics at the University of UC Berkeley, right? Where I co-live, right, and with other students, and obviously observe and sense what not just what they're doing and how they behave, but also what they're developing for the future, right? And I've been seeing that the communication has been drifting in a direction where definitely it has been not leaning into more collaboration with others. And the reason for that, let's say, are very easy to explain. Every time that you encounter a human being, regardless over time or at one time, you usually have, every human being has an opinion and comes with a flavor and with a flag, right? And therefore you have the probability of having different opinions and frictions, right? Or in order to achieve something, you need to put efforts into it, right? Which behind the screen, you don't have that, right? And that is kind of the, let's say, the obviously the essence of this social isolation, right? As an entrepreneur, the last 25 years, I live with glasses to sense, right, signals, right, and not just noise, right? And that catapulted me into, okay, there is something fundamentally going on, right, that is game changing. And in order to get to solve that problem, or maybe let me be actually also a bit more cautious about that, to start alleviating that problem, right? Human being a embodied, right, in the physical body, and therefore having the senses of the sight, the smell, right? We foresaw and then validated, right, that in order for human being to drift, mature, and be molded into a more collaborative species back again, right? That we needed to create technology that actually impacts the senses. And so, long story short, two something years into it, with thousands of interviews, almost 20,000 students on our wait list, 500 colleges, right? We have discovered, right, two things. One, that, and this is almost sad to say, we will be looking back soon and we'll be saying that whatever gaming and social media caused to this generation is nothing compared what AI is about to cause, or maybe we should be saying has already started to cause to the next generation, right? And I'm not saying about to the current students because they're already too mature, too old, right, to be completely lured into this, but definitely the kids that within the next 5 years are starting the elementary school. So I'm talking about Gen Z, and actually I'm talking about Gen Beta. So those who were born this year that fall literally in love, right? They're lured into or being pleased through the AI that is here to truly serve you in all instances, depending on how it's embodied. It's embodied in a chat. It's great to talk and communicate with you. It's embodied in a robot. It's there to serve you. And then the robot has different roles. Well, there is a robot who, yeah, I'm washing your dishes, and that's great. And but there are
Yeah.
also other types of robots where invoke and unleash more emotions, and that will basically cause as a logical consequence that if human being is not very proactively engaging the cognitive mind, your brain, your muscle, right,
Right.
it
Right.
will basically decline massively. Meaning, in very simple words, it's messing up with our brain. And we have already 3, 4, 5 months into this year 2025 studies that we are seeing measured on neurons, right, how the brain is really becoming weaker. Now you augment it, meaning you catapult that in the near future, and you're seeing the massive decline. So let me answer and finalize here the question of what we have discovered. In order to alleviate that social atrophy, which is the input of the social atrophy, the starting point is AI psychosis. By the way, what is AI psychosis? Is when human being interprets into AI emotion and feeling and cognitive reaction of the AI that actually does not exist. In simple words, you fall in love with it, right? Or
Yeah.
you fall in love, your heart say, oh wow, I'm feeling something, right? And so when you get to that point, right, you interpret the AI psychosis, and that's when your brain, right, does not understand that it's not about a human being, even though that it seems like a human being, right? So we have three things on how we alleviate it. Number one, human being needs to be outside for a series of reasons, right, in order to decrease depression, anxiety, social isolation. Because when you are outside, you start connecting in a very homogene way with the physical world, with planet Earth, with nature, right? And so you also move away from, your closed environments, right? And outside, you now meet with like-minded peers. So number two, you go into group behavior. So whatever we have learned the last 25 years of I like, I comment, I share, I am great, I do, I am visible, I become evident, right? I am exposed. Now it's let's do something together. Let's build something together. Let's accomplish something. And that invokes and unleashes a feeling of edification. Oh, I'm edified. I feel that I belong in a group. And number three, we inject and we empower the essence of creativity. We unlock creativity of each group activity that leverages the physical world and the digital world, and users can create a true new dimension, this physical digital dimension, to reduce up to 40% of this social atrophy.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Actually, now that you brought up the research that is being done right now on AI psychosis, I wanted to ask you this question: is that the psychological impact of AI psychosis that is inevitably leading us towards social atrophy is now widely recognized by like leading neurophysicists, psychiatrists, and other researchers. Like we have already mentioned Geoffrey Hinton in our previous episode. We have also seen researchers like Dr. Daniel Amen, Terry Sejnowski. They have been discussing this on public platforms as well. And the research that has come out so far clearly shows that Gen Z and Gen Alpha are actually much more susceptible to this problem than any other generations for a myriad of reasons, right? And I was looking at this study done by Common Sense Media, where they interviewed 1,060 teenagers in the US between the ages of 13 and 17 who use AI chatbots as companions, basically. And some of the findings they published are truly astonishing. I just want to refer to a couple of them here. Let me pull them up. Yeah. So one of the findings is that 33% of users choose AI companions over humans for serious conversations. And in another one, they found like it's the same 33% of teens found those AI conversations to be as satisfying and or more satisfying than human conversations. So they're clearly they're looking at it like a replacement of actual human interactions. So my question will be here: do you see a future from here that isn't dystopian, and how do you see that future for new generations shaping up?
Romeo, your statistic is I mean, considering that we just got introduced ChatGPT 5, right? Until a couple of weeks ago, we had only the ChatGPT 4, right? Is already actually scary enough, right? And you mentioned that yes, the now in summer 2025, right? The world is starting truly realizing, or actually some of them are starting creating proactive content, such as the Diary of the CEO, all the All In podcast, right? Peter Diamandis, who is now talking about what kind of robots are influencing human beings. Specifically, we're talking about sex robots, right? Or John Lennox from the university in the UK, right? The CBS interviews. So this AI psychosis is becoming a reality, because there is an underlying, not just intuition, but also evidence, right? We are starting measuring, because now we are a couple of months into it, right? I don't think that dystopia is truly the world in which we are moving towards. But what we definitely need to understand at humanity, that for the very first time, what we have invented as entrepreneur is something that does not just support the process, the job to be done, a process, an action, a work that we need to accomplish, but it's truly replacing activities and doing them even more safer, right? And think of cars, right? In a couple of years, we look back and say, who gave human being a driver license? Because the statistic will show, right, that a machine will have less incidents, and the same with whatever is in a dangerous line of work, right? So that is all great. Now the question is, when does AI start leaning into AI psychosis? And it's every time that human being, as a reaction of the actual interaction with the AI, starts feeling. So every time that you use an AI, and the AI is not just supporting you, but you start feeling something, it's either emotional or feeling that it's overwhelming you, right? Then you have used the AI in a way that is negatively impacting your brain, your cognitive mind. And over time, you get addicted to that use, right? Because it's pleasant, right? Oh, it's easy to do an entire topic. It's easy to write an entire book soon. It's easy to draw something, but that is not what human being is here for. We human being have a achieve a level of satisfaction in life when we face and solve friction slash challenges. That's in the pyramid, in the Maslow's pyramid, right? In order for us to feel growing, right, and look back and be actually proud and excited about our accomplishment, right? We are solving one battle at a time. That's everyone's life, right? And even though we think that those challenges are sometimes nerve-wracking, but these are the moments where you actually then look back and everyone say, wow, we mastered that. And that becomes your testimony. That becomes your story. That becomes how you tell it to others, and vice versa. The others start bonding with you, right? It's the same thing, that when I met my wife 5 years ago, right? And we sat at the table, and I was telling the story back then on how I, for instance, right, went from Sicily to Germany and started graduating and learned another language. It was not an easy language, right? And so that became the testimony, meaning the accomplishment of what was done, right, become the testimony, not just for me to grow, but then the testimony of the actual content, and the content basic made it that I met the best woman on earth. That's what I still feel. So going back to the original question, of the possible AI outcome, we need now, as human being, in each of our roles, in the roles of academia, in the roles of entrepreneurs, in the roles of executives, in the roles of parenting, understand that AI is great, but we need to consciously need into styles on how to use AI, and develop then technology that actually allows the receptor, the user of that AI, to understand when do feelings, go overboard, and so that we can, limit the AI psychosis risk, and therefore the increase of social atrophy, meaning losing the capability, the willingness for us to meet as human beings, right? And that's how I foresee it, meaning I foresee that we are now responsible to put more efforts, right? Because the risk is that through less efforts, less thinking, less cognitive, less reflections, less usage of our brain, we will be basically losing our position against whom? Against a new species that looks very much alike, right? And does the role of what we were doing, but in a much smarter way, and in a much faster way, a much more secure way. And that's exactly the risk that we are seeing, right? We need more technology for human beings.
All right, Tommaso, as always, this has been a superbly educational conversation, and hopefully, every single day we find more and more answer that helps us solve this problem once and for all. And
Well,
up
for
until
those
then,
who like that, right, Romeo? Sorry to interrupt, right?
no
This is
worries.
Phygital and the application Vyry. We are a movement, right? That's the movement to support truly human being to stay in its essence human, right? Starting with students on college, right, in order for them to foster community in a playful way by converting the campus in an interactive, group oriented, pedagogical environment that is fun, is playful, and rewarding. So, reach out to us, join the movement. We are truly looking for this very selective community of early adopters, right? 20K right now, and growing. So yeah, the word over to you, Romeo. Thank you so much as always.
No, absolutely, absolutely. This is the network effect that we are looking for, is the people who truly recognizes that the problem that we are facing, and who wants to be part of this movement from the very beginning, right? Because the problem is undeniably daunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Till then,
I'll see you in the
bye
Vyry
bye.
world. Bye,
See
guys.
you at the field.